we're going to teach you how to drive a truck.
Hi, I'm Jaycie. Welcome to the Forbidden Cities, a Keeper of the Lost Cities podcast. A podcast where Sydney and I talk about Keeper of the Lost Cities books, theories, characters, ships, and more. Hello! Welcome to episode 2, or 1.5. I don't know how we're going to do it.
Welcome back to the Forbidden Cities podcast. I guess this is episode, 1.5, basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's Unlocked Part 2.
Yep, we like using the 0.5 thing when it comes to Unlocked.
We're going to use it now.
Yes.
Thanks, Shannon. We're stealing that.
We had to go to a football game, and a guy broke his arm, and it looked painful.
Scary.
We needed Elwin.
And Liffy. They both
Livy.
They had to work together.
Yep. Anyway, so we're back.
Yes. So the next chapter, the one that we left off on, was the chapter with Dex, Kessler, and the twins. They had just shown up, and we were laughing about Bex liking Keith and loud siblings. Yep. And the next chapter is Sophie talking to Glimmer. Mm-hmm. Glimmer, who I did not very much trust, actually, at the end of the last book. I was just like...
You want to talk about that first?
I don't have much to say. I just didn't trust her. I was just like,
Yeah. I guess we'll talk about her in a little bit.
Throughout the discussion.
Mm-hmm. So my first thought for this is I thought it was really funny how Biana was driving Walter crazy.
So it said in the book, like, he should win the prize for most patient bodyguard or something. Now, granted, the poor bodyguard gets driven crazy, especially in Lodestar. It said, like, he lost Biana and Sandra yelled at him for not keeping better care of his charge or something. But I don't know. I feel like Sandra has a bit of a harder time as a bodyguard.
I don't know. Biana, I could see her being really rebellious.
I mean,
and
she's
I
a
love
vanisher.
that.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Sophie being kind of the main endangered person.
True. I don't know if my Biana rant got cut out of the last one, but I really like her. She's really funny.
She's great.
Yeah. She's like just a solid character.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I noticed in Unlocked there was a part about Walter and it said that Biana was the bane of his existence. And I was like, that's so funny.
And I had another thought. Right. So another bodyguard, you could say, is like Ro has a charge who's not very cooperative, but Ro's not exactly patient. So
yeah.
So she doesn't get that award.
No.
She may get bodyguard with one of the hardest jobs, but not most patient bodyguard.
Yeah, agreed.
So the next thing...
I feel like Grizel has... Sorry. I feel like Grizel probably has the easiest job.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fitz is pretty lawful neutral.
Yeah.
Lawful
Except
neutral.
whenever Alvar comes into the picture. Or matchmaking.
Yeah. No, that's still lawful neutral.
I guess. Yeah, that makes sense.
Lawful. Jaycie's...
Not
Jaycie. Ugh. Sophie's like... We'll talk about this in another podcast.
Yeah, but we're gonna do this.
Is she true neutral? No, she's like neutral good. I don't know. Anyway,
Biana driving also crazy. Okay, that's what we did. The next thing that stood out in the chapter was Fitz being actually helpful at first.
Yeah.
I mean,
the willing allies thing. Like I said, it got cut out. We did a first draft of this, but I lost my train of thought.
Fitz is the willing allies.
Yeah. Oh, I was saying he's actually smart. His anger just gets in the way. Like he's not dumb. He's just angry sometimes.
Angry elf. Oh my goodness, that works. Okay, him and Brunt. They should just have a rant session.
Which is why you think Fitz should be a counselor.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we should make a whole episode on the ships, but. At least Fitz on the council, so it makes sense, but I'll talk about that on a different day. Then we kind of already said this quote before, but Sophie was talking about both groups exist because of the same problems. They just have very different solutions, like murdering, Biana mumbled.
That made me laugh.
It's like, yes, that would be an accurate summary of that, Biana.
Yeah, and then you said...
And that really kind of shows... I mean, yes, of course, they're fine with murdering on a small scale, but if they're not afraid to murder on a large scale either. It kind of confirmed that their real plan could be to murder a large percentage of the humans so that they could have room to expand the elven population.
Makes sense.
Okay. Oh, I wonder.
Oh,
so
wait, let's talk about that. Go ahead.
I just had a thought about the elven population. So what we know about the elven population is that they're kind of small, at least compared to humans, because they can hide away in the lost cities.
Mm-hmm.
So if the never
and they
seen
reproduce
more
like
room,
once or twice.
right? Because of they want to keep the strongest genes. But every once in a while, even though they may have more than just 1 or 2 kids, sometimes they have more kids and the kids still have strong abilities. It's just less often. It's more rare for the kids who are further down the line. Like, the Vackers had 3 kids, and beyond is still super powerful. Mm-hmm. So what if the never seen want the elves to be able to have more kids than just a few, and they can use Keef to test to see if their abilities are going to be present, and then the ones who aren't present, they go ahead and murder to make the elven population as strong as possible.
That's
That's
scary.
That's why they need more room. That's why they need the human cities, because there's going to be a bigger population.
That's genocide.
Yeah.
That's fun. That's not cool.
It sounds possible.
It does sound possible. Like I said, I just keep coming back to like survival of the fittest. That's Gisela's.
That's her plan.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Ugh.
She's really creepy. Shannon did a good job.
We say for the 3rd time.
And
then I don't want to skip past this because this is a really good quote. It's interesting how Sophie says both groups exist for the same problems. That's really true. Mm-hmm. Like the Black Swan exists to put the council in check, to be a balance for their world. Mm-hmm. And then the Never Seen are like that, but they just take it to the extreme. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the Never Seen have, like, they're both doing...
They're able to cheat, able to
Yeah.
cross their own lines.
Right.
Yeah.
And the Black Swan solution is not to murder the humans. It's to try to, I think, my guess is they're going to want to reconstruct the human treaty. That's why they wanted Sophie to live among humans for so long, because now Sophie knows a lot about humans and knows that they're not these just unhinged maniacs. No, not all of them. that they've never seen. That the Elven Council and world makes them out to be. Mm-hmm. So I think that's probably why they wanted her there, is because she's going to be a voice for the humans to say, we could reconstruct this treaty, and there are some humans who are going to listen.
My theory after O'Reilly, which still could be possible, but probably not, used to be that one of her parents was going to be human, because they just want to build a bridge between the world. I doubt that'll happen, but I wrote out the theory, so it could.
He said the reason I didn't think, well, I thought that was the case at first. I was like, oh, that's a really cool theory. And then I read this part in Exile where she's like, a part alicorn? He goes, no, you're 100% elf.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh. Well, that kills that theory.
Yeah.
But we could do a parentage theory episode. That could be the one where you talk about cool. Orally being her mom and your theory.
We could do that. We could even do that after this.
Yes.
Okay.
Then the next thing, Sophie keeps getting mad. I should let you do the whole next chapter, so I can, every chapter at a time, I'll bring up the topics, and then in the next chapter, you'll bring up the topics. Does that make sense?
Okay, I guess.
Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
so
I'm still
two
more in this.
We talked about this a little before, but how Sophie keeps getting mad in her mind at people, Gisela, whatever, Cassius, and Glimmer, who hurt Keith because they hurt Keith, and I love it.
Yes.
Like, there's a part where she's like, Glimmer helped Gisela do that thing to Keith.
Yeah, and
I'm
she
mad
did
at
not
her
forgive
for
her.
it. Yeah. She doesn't do that for anyone else, really. Like, Fitz, who hurt Fitz? I forgot. Alvar. Like, she is still sympathetic to Alvar.
And, what was the counselor's name? Serena, who electrocuted Dex's gadget, and Clara, who called the Arthroplera down. She didn't really get mad at them.
She just has... Yeah.
She got mad at Orly, who literally gave her the thing that got them out of there. Mm-hmm. So I don't know.
She gets mad about her parents and about people who hurt Keith. That's what it is.
And matchmaking.
Yeah. And people who hurt her family, basically.
She's... yeah, that's pretty accurate.
She's gone through so much trauma. Okay.
I feel like Mr. Forkle should just be like, this is group therapy. Everyone
has
trauma.
Yes, like he is at the end, which we'll talk about.
And then you can do the last part.
Okay. I just basically wrote down what happened. I said they decide to treat the Never Seen as equals, and they actually get somewhere instead of letting emotions rule. That's interesting. They kind of took a step back, didn't let their emotions get the best of them, and it went somewhere.
And what do you mean by that? The never seen is
Oh, meaning glimmer.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Like, I feel like lots of times with Gethin and Fenton, they go in and they're like,
what do you know?
Yeah, what do you know? We don't like you. But
I would be able... Here's my thing. Before those guys murdered anybody, I would have been able to. But after Gethin murdered Forkel and Fenton murdered Kenrick, I'd do the same thing. That's some self-control, I have to say.
Yeah. Some
of these characters are impressively controlled.
It's really amusing because it was Fitz's idea, who was like the least self-controlled. Points to Fitz for doing something right.
Yeah.
Though Jaycie's skeptical. She really...
I have a hard time trusting people.
You'd think I would hate Fitz more because I love Keith so much.
Yeah.
But actually,
you're fair.
Jaycie.
You're fair, yeah. I never forgave him after book 2. If someone did that to me, if someone was like that to me, it would hurt me so much. I would literally never be able to talk to them again.
The thing is, I would be able to forgive them after book 2, but the fact that he did it again in flashback, just, no.
I would I don't know. It's not that I would be mad at them. I would just be sad. That's my thing. I rarely get mad unless someone's directly telling me that I'm, like, incompetent at everything and I can never get better and blah, 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 blah.
It would definitely hurt. You definitely wouldn't date them.
No.
I wouldn't date them after that.
No. But, like, and what Fitz did to Sophie was really similar to that, but the fact that he apologized and said he was wrong, I would have just been sad. Like, I wouldn't have been able to get mad, especially with what was going on with Eldon.
Yeah.
But I would have stayed sad and been like, I don't really want to talk to them.
Yeah.
I would have been.
I would forgive them, but like I said, I would not be able to date them. I would be.
No, definitely not.
Like, pretty sure this is gonna.
And badly.
Yeah, not go very well for us. Okay. Your turn.
All right.
So next chapter.
The next chapter, Keith and the tests with the triplets screaming in his face. Sydney's thought was she thought it was so weird whenever she read through and it was mentioning their hands feeling weird. She's like, it's so random. That's true. I was kind of weirded out by it at first because I was like,
Shannon, what?
Can you what?
Why do you care about their hands being cold?
I thought it would be like, they're little kids and they were just holding popsicles or something, something weird. But then I was like, why would all their hands feel different? Usually all of kids' hands feel like slimy or dry.
Especially, I was really weirded out because Keith spoke. Like, their hands were cold enough that he said, wow, your hands are cold. Right. And I was like, was that a typo? Did he just speak? And then it came into play, and I was like, okay, I guess so.
By the way, she's doing all of this on the phone with me, so she said that. I'd already read the book, and I went, just keep reading. I would have to mute my side so much.
I was like, Shannon, what?
I was having such a hard time not saying anything and not hinting at anything that I would just mute my side, and I'd be like, I'll unmute if I know I can say anything.
Maybe that's what we need to look for. Anything that's really random, and it's, like, probably part of something.
Like Jaycie's brother falling through the floor.
Yep. Wonder who that could be. Maybe the only other phaser mentioned in the series besides a counselor.
I think there's a phaser who's a counselor. I think it's Derek. But because he's the one with the telekinesis, I think. But I'm thinking of there's like a mentor in book 1 or something who walks through a wall and tells Stina off whenever she's bullying Sophie. But that's a girl.
Okay, so this next part, it's the quote where Keith says, oh, what was he doing? Oh, yeah, Elwyn said, okay, try this solution. I don't know. Something like that. And he said, it'll be a little gentler. And Keith says, or from Keith's point of view, it says, Keith didn't deserve gentle, but he craved it. And I was like, Keith, no, you do deserve gentle. You do, I promise. And that was like the first hint of him being
like depressed for the rest of the thing.
He scared me. I was like, Keith.
He starts becoming very like self-deprecating for the rest of it.
Yeah. I want to make sure I there's another quote.
I think you did. I remember seeing it. I know what you're talking about.
Okay, cool. It's like right next. Here it is.
Yes.
Yeah, you want to read that one?
Sure, and then you can react to it. Because her reactions to Keith's stuff is going to be much better than mine. It felt like falling, and the darkness raced up to catch him. A soothing pool...
I wrote
She
pool
spelled-
with like 3 O's.
A soothing pool... All right, starting over.
Okay, start over.
It felt like falling, and the darkness raced up to catch him. A soothing... Okay, sorry, I paused it so that we would stop laughing.
It's not gonna work.
What?
Okay, go ahead. Try again.
Okay. It felt like falling, and the darkness raced up to
This
catch
is serious. Okay. Okay, ready? Okay, just read the quote. It's not even funny. It just says
him. We're just laughing so we don't start crying.
Yeah, that's totally what it is. Okay, in case I didn't explain it clearly enough, I spelled pool, and it looks like pool. So, okay.
There's only 3 O's in it, but because there's already 2 O's in the normal word, it looks really weird. Like, just type P-O-O-O-L.
Where's a pen? Let me fix this so we can move on. Hold on. Here you go. Where does it say that? There we go. You're welcome. Go ahead. Okay, pause it so we can recover.
1 second.
Okay, we're back after laughing for like 3 more minutes.
Yeah.
Also, we're drinking coffee this time, so that might
It's
add
totally
to it.
not going to make it worse.
Okay, go ahead. Read the quote. It's sad. Okay, read the quote.
It felt like...
Stop! Read the quote!
I'm just going to go straight to the quote. It felt like falling, and the darkness raced up to catch him. A soothing pool of black that swallowed him whole until there was nothing left. Now he was safe. Everyone was safe. And the world was blissfully quiet. So was his brain, which slowly shut down. The darkness turned thicker and thicker until Keith sank as far down as he could go, hoping he'd never find a way back.
That made me so sad. I started getting... Jaycie remembers this. I started getting really worried about Keith.
Like, really worried.
Yeah, so did you, didn't you?
I'm still worried about
Yeah,
Keith.
it gets worse in a few minutes, but we were like, Keith, you
You're not
okay,
allowed to
buddy?
die on us?
Yeah, no. So my note here says, wait, could this lead to a Keith mind break someday?
Listen, Keith, we already lost one funny guy with his name started with the letter K. We can't do it twice.
Yeah, no. That would be interesting, though. I don't know, I just thought about that. Mind breaks are always a danger. Yep. I'm surprised Sophie's fine, honestly.
I think it's because of her human upbringing just made her mind less guiltable.
Susceptible, yeah.
Right. Susceptible is better than guiltable.
Yep.
But
that made me sad.
This
And
is the next thing.
If you don't like Keith, just read that quote.
makes
Have
me
some
sad.
sympathy.
It was never going to be safe for him to speak, or to be around people, or to have any sort of physical contact, or a life.
Keith! Let's just move on.
Okay. Next chapter is Sophie Ann talking about going to raid a storehouse. Okay, read your quote.
Okay. So when I was reading the book and calling Jaycie, unbeknownst to me mostly, she was writing down some of my quotes. So here's one that she wrote down that I said while I was reading. I said, "This feels like real Keeper now. Them debating on whether they should go on a mission and making a plan. A lot of the book has felt sort of off, but this feels like real familiar Keeper." So let me clarify. When I say sort of off, it wasn't bad off. It was just different. Yeah, different.
It's because Keith is depressed, and it makes everyone else sad, too.
Yeah. But then once they started talking about making a plan, it was like, okay, this is what we're used to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we're wondering how Glimmer got a Starstone.
Yeah. Though let me say about that last thing. Then I was like really excited. I was like, here we go again. And also anxious. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, Glimmer has a Starstone. That's interesting. I don't remember much about that. Why did she have a Starstone? Because
She just like pulled it out. She was just like, I have a Starstone. And they were like, oh,
yeah,
how?
And she like fake broke it with a trick of the light.
I don't know. Yeah, to make them think that she could. Why did they still let her have it, though? If someone fake broke something for me, I'd be like, okay, well, give it to me if it's broken.
Yeah. Well, I think they threw it away and she got it.
And she just braided the trash can.
Yeah. Raid the storehouse, raid the trash can. Okay.
Glimmer, you're getting better at this. Yeah, that's a little lucky.
Yeah.
And here the luck begins, for Sophie at least.
Yeah, and so that was when they had the discussion about the storehouse, and then they were like, okay, let's go. And then it switched to Keith's perspective.
I want to read this quote. I love Ro. So this next is Keith and Dex talking over the imparter. So someone says something about, Keith, you need to stop pouting. Do you remember who that was?
It was Dex. He says, I think it was Dex. It was either Dex or Kessler. Someone.
Then, Keith, you need to stop pouting. And Ro steps in with her amazing commentary. He's not pouting, he's brooding, Ro corrected. Pouting would have his shoulders hunched and his lips jutting out more, and sulking would have his eyes all downcast. Wow, I kind of hate myself for knowing that. Dex cracked up. So yeah, it must have been Dex.
Yeah, that part made me laugh so much. It's like wow.
Ro just analyzes. She just analyzes teen boy behavior. Why? Ro, you good there, dear? She must be really bored. You think torturing Keith doesn't keep her busy enough?
See, this really shows how much she cares. She's like so invested in this.
She loves Keith.
Yeah,
remember,
in her own way.
Do you remember in like book 6 or something where she's like, "Oh, come to Auntie Ro and tell me all about it." I think that was in book 7, and we were all like, "Auntie Ro, what?"
She's so funny. Again, the like loving adults, or I guess teenagers.
I think she's like 20 or something.
Yeah, she's young, but I don't think she's that young.
Yeah, I mean she's married,
technically, or engaged.
According to ogre law,
something like that. Yeah, and then Ro teases Dex about the kiss.
Right. I was
trying to provoke something out of Keith.
I thought that I don't think that Dex knew that Keith knew.
Yeah,
about that.
And then he was like,
so
"Huh?"
Like, how did Sophie tell? Oh my goodness.
Because didn't they agree to keep it quiet? And then Keith like prodded her and was like, "You did."
Yeah.
Yeah, she like blushed or something.
I'm wondering how long it's gonna be. Well, I guess now that Keith's gone, that's probably. So whenever Sophie first found out that Orly was her mom, I was like, how long is it going to be before Keith figures it out? Because Keith figures everything out. But with the whole thing with him not talking and being distracted and now he's gone, that's probably a really...
It's not the first thing on his mind anymore.
Right, and he's not going to be there to guess. So
yeah.
Lucky for Orly, she won't get caught yet.
Yeah.
It's going to be... It's
and
soon as he's back for more than a week.
If anyone's trustworthy with that, who doesn't care about the rules, like...
It's going to be Keith.
of the council. He doesn't... I love that about him. He doesn't care. He's just like... Whatever. Okay.
I'm sorry, I just saw a misprint that
Oh, no. What's so funny? How a...
Food.
I saw that last night and I left it.
You left it in. Did you understand how much it was gonna derail us? Okay.
No,
there's gonna be another misprint coming up soon. It's gonna be great. Let's finish this chapter.
Okay.
What is it?
Oh yeah, and then Rose like, now that Fitzby's unraveling, and who is it? Dex is like, oh, it is. I was like,
Dexy almost as oblivious as Sophie.
Whatever Rose says, it just confirms everything.
Whenever Rose says something, I'm always like, thank you. I needed someone to say that.
Yeah, we always talk about how Ro is the voice of the Sokeith fandom.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like 80% of us.
Yeah.
No offense to you other ones, Fitzby's.
Their numbers are dwindling.
I think so.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, guys.
Though those of you who are still loyal to it, at least I respect you for not being bandwagons.
Yeah,
I
respect you.
Yes.
Hope you keep listening, even though we're very biased.
You can listen to just me ranting about Kenrick because everyone agrees on that, right? Right? Everyone? Okay, continuing.
Dex being a great friend. On 690, and then I wrote down the quote, Keith is like, my life's awful, and then he says, it is what it is. And Dex is like, you don't have to do that, and then gets distracted. But it was just so sweet how Dex was like, you can talk to me.
Like, you don't have to just be like, oh, well, it's fine.
And this was the part where I was like, Dex is really a good character when he's not angsty about his crush.
Yeah.
He's just so sweet.
And even, like, with the crush thing, okay, so one of my brothers is that way with one person who... Okay, I can't give any more details or they'll both kill me. But, yeah, it's just kind of sweet. Like, he's so loyal. And I don't know. It's
And
kind
now
of a
he's
sweet
like,
little...
okay, we're friends.
Right. He handled it very maturely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Fitz, you need to be taking notes. Then the next chapter, Sophie and the team at the storehouse.
My first note is that I had so much anxiety. Did you?
So I was just, like, paranoid. Not paranoid. I was
paranoid.
just like, is something
What's going to go wrong?
happen? Right. I felt like at first, whenever they were... The part that I was like, okay, if something's going wrong, it's happening right now. There was just 2 times that I thought that. It was whenever they first got in and looked around, and it was whenever they were like, okay, hurry up, we need to get out now. But nothing happened. In between, I was like, okay, maybe this is really going to be the one event in the whole series that goes right.
Yeah. I remember me being on the phone with you, and I was like, okay, where is it? Whoa, they made it out, basically.
The whole time she was, like, freaking out, like, what's about to happen? And I
Yep.
was like, I did not unmute my side, I don't think. Or maybe if I did, I was
Yeah,
just like,
I was just like, Jaycie, I'm so scared right now. What's going to happen? And then nothing happened.
nothing happened.
It was amazing.
I was very happy about it.
And it makes sense that nothing happened.
Because
Like,
they weren't guarding that.
yeah. Other times, it made sense that something did happen. But this was so spontaneous, and it was an offensive move when they're usually defensive.
Yeah, they just weren't
Yeah,
expecting
that
the
it
Black
makes
Swan
sense
to...
that, the Never Seen wouldn't be expecting that. Makes me happy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sandor.
Oh, yeah. I wrote down this quote, Sandor appreciation, and Sandor said, "Don't worry, I have your back." And then Sophie's commentary says, "He always did." And Sophie hoped he knew how grateful she was for that.
She's come so far since, like, whenever he was first assigned to her, and she was like, she couldn't stand having a
Yeah.
7-foot-tall gray goblin following her around everywhere, but it's fine. Her life is fine.
Just the trust that's been built in this series is really good. Sandor, we love you.
Then hundreds of never seen uniforms.
That's low. Why would you need... I feel like you would make one every time someone joined your team. That's what I would
They
do.
just have this huge stash.
Yeah.
How many?
How many Never Seen members are there? Are they, like, planted throughout the Lost Cities?
Probably.
Ugh.
Because, I mean, think about the Black Swan. You have just all the random people who were working with them.
And it's a big population.
And I don't remember
Think about
which
all the
book.
backers.
Yeah. I don't remember which book it was, but I remember in one of the books, they were, like, in a huge gathering of people. It was probably a Never Seen somewhere. And so it was like Sophie wondered how many people around her were actually Never Seen agents. Maybe it was Lodestar. She's like, she wondered how many of them were actually working against her from the shadows and would have grabbed her if Sandor wasn't right next to her or something like that. And I was like, whoa, that's so true. Because of the Black Swan members can be everywhere. So
Yeah,
can they never
Black
seen.
Swan has, like, Timken, Livy, Tinker? Is that her name?
Orly.
Yeah, or Allie. They're just planted everywhere. Probably Kenrick.
Probably.
Who is it? Tiergan? Yeah.
Sir Aston, Magnet Leto,
Yeah, so who's on the Never Seen?
Lady Gisela.
Yeah.
Finton. I mean, think about it. Finton was like a normal citizen who was just sitting in his house. Like, you saw Kenrick and Orly questioning him.
Yep.
And it said they arrested him in book 1. And so we've always thought of him as a bad guy because he got arrested when Sophie was kidnapped in book 1. I bet Kenrick led that because he was suspected him from the Elysian thing.
The only problem is...
it's been doing... There's like a tapping sound in the background.
Yeah, the only problem is abilities are a dead giveaway. So if Shannon wants to introduce someone and not let us know who they are or that they're on the Black Swan or Never Seen, she has to hide their ability.
And then... Let's see the next thing. Oh, this quote. Whenever Sophie's burning down the storehouse, this is for Kenrick and Mr. Forkel and Keith and all the scars and tears and nightmares and threats and fear and pain. Are those the only 3 people she says?
Yeah. Kenrick, Forkel, Keith. Why? Are we missing someone?
No, it's just weird. Like, Mr. Forkel, she knew really well. Keith, she knew really well. She didn't know Kenrick that well. And Shannon keeps bringing him up.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess he's going to be more important with his memories, but...
And he was also the first death.
I mean...
And probably the most painful one.
I mean, Alden had almost died
True.
before that. And Jolie.
But Alden, it was kind of his own doing.
Yeah.
I mean, not really, but...
Yeah, I mean...
It was a mind break.
I don't know, she keeps bringing it up, and most of them it's just like, oh, you forget about it.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe that's just
and
me.
there she is, mad about Keith again. I love it. I hate it, but I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, they're just precious friends in general.
They're just precious.
Precious. Okay.
And then on the next page, she wasn't scared. She was strong, and she was ready to start winning. I think that this is the turnaround book in the series, where it's like, you know, from now on, it's kind of the Black Swan's going to end up on top, because for the whole series so far, the Never Seen has kind of come out on top. They've ended up winning.
Yes.
And you just have that feeling like, ugh, we're still losing. But this, I think, is the turnaround book where after this, it's going to be over soon, because the Black Swan, especially with this storehouse thing, it's getting better.
Yeah.
I said a lot of my thoughts already. I did have this, like, the aggressive part of Sophie that kind of came out there.
Those quotes are really good too. They just made me. I remember being like, "What? They made it?"
Yeah.
And like loving those quotes. I was just very happy with it.
It's like they escaped.
Yeah.
But why? What? So far, the main times we've seen that kind of aggressive part of Sophie, like the offense side of Sophie, kind of come out, has been when talking about like Keith's parents or something.
Yep.
But now she's directing that towards the Never Seen, which I think is really going to help.
Yeah.
Especially
when have we seen her be really aggressive?
Talking to Gisela kind of in the last book. And then whenever she started learning the battle skills in flashback, and she was fighting with those.
Yep, that's true.
And I guess one of the first few times she inflicted.
I was about to say inflicting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Other than that, not a lot. But I hope it's kind of a more common thing now, because
it's really cool.
It's great.
I like it. Yeah, she's cool. It's cool.
We're gonna try not to. We're gonna just move on from that misprint. And then so whenever they all got back, I know this is kind of skipping ahead.
We better mention what the misprint was, just because it's funny.
Okay.
We mentioned it.
It said, it was supposed to say good motives or bad, talking about whether it was good or bad motives to want to burn down the Never Seen, and kind of with Glimmer's influence. But I typed food motives of bad with a question mark.
Last night when I was reading through these questions, I was like, what? And it took me a minute.
Food motives of bad. What does that even mean?
Food motives? Okay, we gotta get home and get some lunch. Hurry up, guys. Get out.
Well, come on. We gotta go back, or Grady's not gonna let me eat dinner. Okay. The thing I was gonna say about the other thing is in the next chapter, so we'll keep going, or the next Sophie chapter. Okay. So now we're back to Keith's point of view. Sydney, you can start up.
So first thing I want to talk about is our sympathy for Dex. Yeah, in the quote on 710, there's a lot on 710, but you can read it because it's really good.
All right.
Okay, it's the part where Dex is talking about his siblings.
Oh my goodness. Okay, sorry, I'm away from the microphone. Dex, like I said, I guess I said it in the introduction episode, but he had kind of become less important, and just because I hadn't seen him as much, he sort of moved down on my list of favorites. But whenever this book happened, I was like, here, you can find the quote and you can read it. Whenever this book happened, I was like, oh my goodness, my poor baby Dex, you're so sweet. You're one of my favorites again. Come back to the family. Welcome back.
Yeah. Oh, it's this quote.
All right.
Dex hugged himself tighter. He was crying earlier. Did I tell you that? Bex and Lex had been teasing him like they always do, and he usually doesn't care. But this was bigger, and he got all upset and ran upstairs and slammed the door to his room. My mom was busy trying to stop Lex from burying everything we own in snow, and my dad was trying to help Bex free her foot from the floor, so I went to check on him, and I found him curled up on his bed sobbing about how unfair it was, and I told him. Dex swallowed hard. I told him that it would be his turn soon enough. And he didn't believe me. He looked right at me and whispered, what if I never manifest? And then I'm going to skip a little. It says, Dex choked a little as he added, I told him he was being ridiculous. I said he was only 12 and he had tons of time left. And that just because Bex and Lex got their abilities early didn't mean he wouldn't get one too. And then I said his ability would probably be way cooler than theirs, and that's why it was taking a little longer, and he sat up and asked, like a technopath? And I remember thinking how weird that was, since I was actually bummed about my ability at first. But he told me, think of all the cool stuff we could build together. His voice broke with a sob, and Keith had to scrub away a few tears of his own. Keith's crying again.
Yeah. Thinking of that happening with one of my siblings, I would be like so upset.
Yeah. We're both oldest siblings, by the way.
Yeah, so we feel Dex's pain with that, like trying to comfort one of them and then finding out that like there's literally nothing you can do and they're never going to get that thing that you almost promised them.
Yeah, and that they've wanted. And
it's like, it reminds me of, this isn't exactly the same. It's not like never going to happen, but my 7-year-old brother, my 12-year-old brother plays football and he's like pretty good. We were at his game today. He was not the one whose arm broke, luckily. But my little 7-year-old brother was like, so I'm so much younger than him that we wouldn't be able to play college football together, but we could play NFL together. Now the little 7-year-old, he's a delicate little thing. Aww. He's wouldn't handle pain well, and he wants so bad to play football because the older brother does. And so my dad was talking to him about it. He was like, yeah, I'm sure you could play NFL one day. But then he was talking to me later. He's like, if he gets hit one time, he's just going to cry for ages and he's never going to play again. So it was like, that's what it made me think of. But think of if like suddenly something happened to him and he didn't know, but we knew that he'd never be able to play football with the 12-year-old ever again. That's almost what it made me think of, and like I was literally almost crying whenever my dad was telling me.
And it's like a society where in this metaphor, football is like the main thing. It's what matters.
It's like, if playing football was what made anyone able to exist in almost like,
or like you couldn't be
important.
Famous. Yeah, important. And the Elven system needs to change.
Yeah.
But that
just made me sad because he was talking about that and literally like I started crying and Dad was like, Jaycie, what? Yeah. And I was like, it just reminds me of Keeper of the Lost Cities. And then he rolled his eyes. He was like, you're fine. But it was sad. I'd be so sad.
That like
Dex.
We had a long conversation about that. How that hurt. It's like, I feel worse for Dex than I do for Rex, honestly.
Lex is the one, I believe.
Oh.
I think you can double check.
Yeah.
Because I remember it. I think it was Lex because Lex is whenever we play it with my siblings, one of my siblings, the 7-year-old, is always Lex. So.
Oh.
Yeah. I was like, why? What? He's always Lex. What?
Yeah. This made Dex shoot up in both of our favorites list.
Basically, if we sympathize with a character, we're it's just like, oh yeah, you're my favorite now. That is really a thing, because Orly is my favorite because I sympathize with her. Keith, Ro. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right, the next thing. Sydney, this was your thought.
Okay.
It's the third.
It's sad that all of these are my thoughts because I did this all last night. And I was like...
I'm just stealing half of her thoughts. Ooh. No, I can't do this. I'm going to talk about that. Okay, so yours is actually the can Keith strip someone's ability away. Do you want to do that first? Or we're deciding who gets to go first, guys.
Wait. Oh, you have another thought?
No, it's based on the next thing. So you do the third thing, and then I'm doing the fourth thing. I call it.
Oh. Okay, wait. I'm confused. So we're on can Keith strip someone's ability away?
Yes, can Keith take it.
Yeah, because there was a mention about that. Where Keith's like, can I? I was thinking, can he strip his own ability away?
Maybe enhanced.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because he hasn't tried that. He'll never. He wouldn't for a really long time let anyone enhance him for sure. I don't know if he will ever, but it's possible.
Maybe someone will come up with that. I don't know.
He'd be like, nopey nope.
Yeah.
The next thing.
But could he strip, like, is there anyone's ability who's important on the Never Seen? That could be a good punishment for the Never Seen.
You're right. Just take it away.
Yeah. Hold on a second.
The force field guy.
Why is Gisela so concerned about abilities and using abilities when she's a polyglot?
Probably because she doesn't have a good one.
Maybe. That's weird.
She's just like, I want this to happen, but I know I'm not powerful enough, so I'm going to do it to my son.
Yeah, that's true.
Cue evil laughter. Okay, next thing. I can't do this. So, by the way, that's something that Orly said a lot. She said that whenever Sophie found out she was her mom, the first thing she said, Sophie, I can't do this. Whenever Kenrick asked her to leave the council, and he said can't or won't. Sophie said it in a book. I forget which one. And now Keith's saying it.
Yeah.
Like, Shannon, do you realize how many times
He said
write
that
this?
3 times. He says it. I said times weird. He said that 3 times. He says it twice in that same scene. And then he says it in the preface. That's the first thing in the preface is, I'll get it.
That's probably the preface scene then.
Yeah, He says, yeah, we really don't need to read it, but he keeps saying that. That's
I think
and
that's
then-
a pretty good sign that, like, things are bad.
yeah. 'Cause, whew. And that's when his plan forms. He's like, I can't do this, so I'm going to do something else.
So I'm just going to step out, everybody. Sydney, your next thing is actually yours.
Okay.
Because I got to do I Can't Do This.
Oh, yeah, I wrote down, I don't know, should we?
We can say we were very worried about Keith's mental stability at this point.
Yes.
Because he sounded like he kept saying, like, he didn't deserve to live, stuff like that. And it was really cool that he would say something like that, but then he wouldn't
Go to the extreme.
Right.
Yeah.
He wouldn't consider ending his life. He's like, I'm going to keep living, but I got to do this differently.
Yeah. I was really happy that it was scaring us, but I love that that never even, of course, Shannon could have put that in his mind with a kid's series, but it's
she
just
didn't.
such a positive thing that there's always another way. He found another way, and it's a sad way, but he knows how much.
He knows what's too far.
Yeah.
And then Ro thought that he was ready to go and face his mom. I don't think that he is. I think at this point he's just like, I'm done with the never seen. I'm done with trying this. I'm just going to go be a hermit.
He's close.
He's basically Luke Skywalker. He's just like, I'm done with the Jedi. It's time for the Jedi to end. And he's going to go hide on an island for 700 years or whatever.
No, I think he's close, though. If Ro says that, I kind of believe her.
You might be right.
Yeah. He's maybe not strong enough as far as, like, everything else, but if there was a button that could, like, get rid of Casey,
he would press it. He just doesn't want to face her.
Yeah, that's where he is right now. So I think Ro's half right, half wrong. But
at this point, he's just scared and wants to be alone, and I feel that sometimes.
I'm so interested to see how he reacts to being around humans so much. It's gonna be like a fan fiction if she even writes it. I've read or the few fan fictions I've read have usually been about them being in the human world. It's interesting.
Nice. Then Keith uses his ability on Ro, and it works on other species, which is it shows that he could use it on the humans. And also,
and that was so sad, like, poor Ro.
Well, afterwards she wasn't even like fazed by it. I think she was just kind of like, if you're gonna do this, you're gonna do this. But
wait, was she? I thought he just left her.
Well, he woke her back up right before he left, and she was like, are you sure that this is what you want to do? Yeah, hold on, I'm gonna find it really quick.
Okay.
Because it's at the end. But I remember her waking up, and she's like, are you sure that this is a good idea?
Oh, yeah. Didn't he, like, tie her up? We'll see.
I think, yeah.
Yeah. By the way, we brought all of our books so that,
every single book in this series.
just being prepared.
Yep. Definitely not extra. It's just prepared.
Sorry for the dead time.
Yeah, we're good.
I'll use this dead time to say, if you want to follow us on Instagram, we are at Forbidden Cities Podcast.
Yes.
Yeah, come find us. I'm probably going to I'm going to put some quotes on there, randomly, updates, different things we come up with. I'll probably put the alignment chart when we make it.
I found it.
Yeah.
So it says, he closed his eyes and gathered the energy to tell her, wake. She tried to jolt upright, but the bonds held her in place, and in the split second it took Keith to raise his crystal.
Slow down. I can't understand you.
Sorry. My siblings tell me I talk way too fast. He closed his eyes and gathered the energy to tell her, wake. She tried to jolt upright, but the bonds held her in place. And in the split second, it took Keith to raise his crystal. He watched her realize what was happening. You're going to regret this, she warned. He nodded. He had zero doubt about that, but he still stepped into the path, letting the warmth carry him away.
If Rose says he's going to regret that,
And then he agrees.
I'm slightly... Oh, no.
Because the thing is, he's always going to regret, because he really does love Sophie. And he's going to regret that. He's going to regret leaving right before the battle.
Yeah.
because if the next book is the last one, there's going to be a battle, and it's going to be intense. And Grady's absolutely right, because we're going to get to that. Yeah, she's gonna need Keith, but
Hopefully he'll figure it out fast.
it's gonna be.
And okay, I don't want to skip ahead. Let's keep going.
All right, next chapter. Sophie defending her actions in the storehouse. Okay, before I get to any of like the written down notes, because I don't know if this is written down and I don't want to forget. I didn't like the reaction being like, "Oh no, you've started the war now, Sophie. Look what you've done." I was like, but didn't that happen like a year ago when Kendrick died, or more than that, whenever Sophie got kidnapped?
Typical adults. Just kidding.
Yes, that's exactly it, Sydney. No, I was just like, guys, where have you been for the past 2 years?
And wasn't Sophie the one who was like, we're already in a war?
Yeah. I think that she did mention kind of the things that popped in my head, but I was just like, what? Don't you want her to start getting ahead? Don't you want to start winning?
Yeah.
Sorry. And then my quote. Whenever all the adults freak out, and then Forkle takes her to the other room, and he's just calmly talking to her. Remind me of in the book Dumbledore. I think it was in book 5. This is Harry Potter. That Harry was like ranting and stomping around his office and like throwing things and screaming, and Dumbledore's just sitting there, and he's like, he's just sitting there calmly like, I understand your frustration. That's what it makes me think of, because I read this part really fast, so I could be remembering wrong. But I think she goes back to Forkle's office, and she's like, you know I did it, right? Like, I wanted to get ahead in the war. He's like, oh, of course.
Yeah.
And you have to understand that now, since you made an attack, they're probably going to come and attack you, but I want to hear all about this victory. So tell me how everything went.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I have this quote here about Forkle being wise, about her symbol that she makes, which I really want to see, by the way. Anyway, he says, just let it bring fear and hope to people, Miss Foster, and let it remind you to be strong and smart. Use it to change the game, but make sure you win the right way. And never forget that moonlarks can't do everything on their own, even you. And then he's like, and I wrote it down later where he's like,
tell me everything.
And then she's like, really? Why? And he says, because we need to celebrate the victories.
And I was like, okay, you know what? This Forkle is great.
Yeah, Forkle has a temper occasionally, but this was not one of the times. This is one of the times where he was
very patient.
Very sweet old man.
Yeah. I love how we think of, like, I don't think of a lot of the elves as old, except, like, Bront and Forkle. And Forkle looks old, but if you think about it,
but
I mean, I don't think of her as, like, an old lady. I just think of her as, like, creepy.
Ancient is a better word.
Right. But, like, even Fallon, I just think of him as, like, I guess old, but, like, not as old as Forkle, not in the same way. Whenever someone's being nice, I mean, think about it. Kendrick's probably close to the same age as Forkle. No one ever goes, oh, Kendrick, what a sweet old man. Or Alden. Alden's probably older than Forkle. Well, they're not.
Is Forkle ancient?
No.
Are we
his
sure?
ears. Because we've seen him as Leto and Aston. They weren't ancient.
Oh, you're right.
But, yeah.
It's because Forkle has Ruckleberries.
Alden's probably, like, the same age as him. And we're never like, Alden is such a sweet old man.
Yeah, true.
That's so weird.
So I have war. Discuss that. War. I mean, it's already a war. It's just like it's been a Cold War, kind of.
Yeah. It's been just mostly the Neverseen attacking them, just defending, but not really defending well. They haven't won. Like I said earlier, it's kind of been at the end of each book. They've just kind of looked back at their losses and been like, when are we going to start winning? But I think this book is the first one where they're like, oh, we can start winning.
Yep. Also, I'm just imagining being an elf and you're like hearing about everything that's happening and how they're getting beat and then never seen her attacking again. And
they're probably like, why aren't we doing anything?
Yeah, and then now hearing, oh, they attacked. It's starting. I would have such mixed reactions, like, oh no, it's dangerous, but we did something, you know.
Oh, okay, I just have to interject because I remember this being one thing where she mentioned Kenrick again, and she was talking about burning down the building.
Kenrick.
Jaycie's going to have a lot of stuff about Kenrick.
Wait, isn't that what I mentioned?
This is different. This is a different time.
Okay.
It was whenever she got back and she's talking to the adults, so it's still the same chapter. And it's whenever Forkel's like, what you did was dangerous. Make sure you think through. You were lucky that we were in the middle of a waterfall or whatever, but you didn't think through all of that, so make sure that you think through it. And he was like, it could have set off an enormous firestorm and caused untold collateral damage. Sophie shuddered and closed her eyes, trying to fight back the painful flashbacks. But she could still hear the screams, still see the neon yellow flames, still remember the last time she saw Kenrick's face.
Neon yellow?
Neon yellow is Everblaze, yeah.
Unlike the cover. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Still remember the last time she saw Kenrick's face. The last thing that Kenrick said to Orly was, you always make everything better.
Oh.
I know. But then he talks to Sophie about looking in Fenton's mind, and I think that's the last time that he talks. By the way, 100 pages before he dies, he's babysitting Sophie's inflicting session with Bront, which is just so sweet. And he's coaching her through right after she positively inflicted on Bront, and Bront goes hysterical. He's calmly.
That was so weird.
It was, but he's calmly coaching her through it, and she's panicking. And that reminded me of what Orly said about he was always calm and collected no matter what. But he was just so nice, and it's just she keeps thinking about him, and
Jaycie wants him to be her dad.
I'm gonna save my whole theory for the parentage theory, but my preview of that is, it's either him or Gethin, and if it's Gethin, I'm
or
unhappy.
some unknown person. Yeah,
we'll talk.
Yeah, we'll talk.
Hopefully we can record that one today.
Yeah. We have time.
And then the ending of it, because she got the catches. This is the ending of the same chapter, and Mr. Forkel's like, I'm gonna let you keep those catches, but don't think we're not going to talk about your plans for those very soon. I actually don't have any plans, Sophie told him, which is true, since she really didn't want to have to go back to working with Orly, but she would probably have to. Okay, what,
Sophie?
What is your problem?
At least she's saying she didn't want to, but she's gonna have to.
But I don't understand. Why not?
I would understand if it was awkward.
But it's not.
It makes sense if it was awkward, yeah. Orly's pretty quiet. That would be a little weird. But she's not openly defending herself that much.
Right. And that's what makes it less bad. If she tried to defend herself, Sophie would be angry. Sophie would just start screaming and walk out.
Yeah, or no, it might actually be good.
You think?
Yeah, I think so, because I
said, I have zero faith in
I don't think
half the
Orly
characters.
is in the mind position to do that, because she is blaming herself
That's
right
true.
now.
She does agree with Sophie on most of the stuff. She's
if she kind of she does defend herself, but I wonder what would happen if she argued and they got a screaming match. I wonder if Sophie...
I've only seen her scream twice, and both times it was about Fenton.
I feel like that would shock Sophie, though, into...
Yeah.
Oh, man. Especially if she's, crying.
Because it did shock Sophie the other times that she started screaming. One time was about them not letting Fenton into the Luminaria, which they ended up doing.
It's so weird that Sophie, loved Orly before this.
Mm-hmm. It's so weird that she doesn't.
Yeah.
It's just... it makes me sad.
Oh.
And
we just want to fix it.
Right. And she also said that it was really easy to access Kenrick's catch, which meant that she was really telling the truth and never seen whenever she said, there was a way for Sophie to access it. And she was saying she could show Sophie, she could teach her. Mm-hmm. So that'll be cool. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
I want to know what his passwords are.
Mm-hmm.
So this is some detail that I figured out from research. The catches generate their own password, but they generate something that they know is meaningful to you, so you're going to remember it. So does that mean we'll finally get to know Orly's last name?
Oh. Wait, we don't know it?
No, only Kenrick's. Kenrick is the only counselor who we know anything besides, we know his first, middle, and last name because they said it at his planting. But none of the other council members, we only know their first names.
Rally Packer.
Oh, no. She doesn't have teal eyes. So it's not, that's not it.
2 lies?
Teal eyes.
Oh, I was like, what? Yeah.
And then the
not
last
all the
chapter.
backers have teal eyes.
I guess that's true.
Oh my goodness. I thought I heard someone.
Sydney turned around and saw my dad and just got scared to death. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna pause it. Okay, Sydney has recovered from her shock.
Okay.
What I was saying about Orly, I think a lot of the backers don't. It just wouldn't make sense, especially I don't know.
Yeah. It's just funny that
some of the backers are fine. Fallon backer's fine. Oh, yeah. That might be. It was just interesting that Fallon said he had personally talked to her about leaving the council. So that's a possibility.
Wait, he
actually
did? He said what?
whenever in
I feel like Fitz would have mentioned that.
in book 7, they were talking. He was talking. He came up and then he's just staring at Alina, and he's like, "No, I remember you from somewhere. I can see it so clearly. There's someone with a dress. It was so beautiful. Oh, you were the one who interrupted the wedding." And Alina's like,
Wait a second.
"Oh, well, yes." And he's like, "No, you tried to break up Alden and Della." And she's like, "Well, you can see it worked out for me in the end." And she like pointed to her circlet. And he says, "Serving on the council is a tremendous honor, but it shouldn't be your life. I gave the same advice to another once. Sadly, I don't believe she listened either." And it said he could have been talking about anyone, but Orly's eyes teared up, etc., etc. And Sophie knew that she had been in love with Kenrick.
Isn't there... What is that, whole... what's the word? Wait a second. The drama with the Vackers... Didn't someone have an affair? Could O'Reilly... I don't know.
I don't think it was her.
Just a thought, yeah.
She seems a little bit not that crazy.
Wait, no, not O'Reilly.
Okay.
No, I mean,
You said could O'Reilly, and I was like...
I mean,
No.
didn't one of the Vackers, like the distant Vackers, it had to do with, I would have to look
Lucia.
at that. Yeah, Lucia. I don't know. I'm just thinking.
Mm-hmm. Something happened. I know what you're
Yeah.
talking about.
I wonder what family she is.
And Fitz was like, so that happened.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
If she is the Vacker, it would make sense about why Fallon came and, like, personally talked to her.
I doubt it, but it is weird that we don't know their last names. Like, why? She put everyone's middle name and last name, just not the council.
Just the dead
What
ones.
are you hiding? Yeah. Huh? No, but she put,
Oh, you're right.
She
like,
put,
in the
like,
series guide.
yeah, Bianna's
Della and
middle name
Alden.
is Amber. Like,
I mean, Keith redacted his.
yeah, Keith redacted his, but besides that, everyone has a last name and a middle name.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least a last name, so that's a little weird. What are you hiding, Shannon? What family is O'Reilly from?
Anyway, so the next chapter, Keith leaving. So I know you're going to have a lot to say about this.
Oh, wait, are we done with,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we are.
Mm-hmm. Maybe you won't have that much to say about this.
No. Well, you remember...
Her whole rant from...
Yeah,
like,
you remember when
10
we were on the
seconds
phone
ago.
and you were like, are you still there? And
That's
I was
right.
literally...
She did
this
go
is-
silent.
Mhm, I was going silent because I was like trying not to cry. I was like,
This is whenever I came up
holding
to
it
my
in, holding in a sob.
Yep.
I cry silently. So
Mm-hmm. I went up to my 14-year-old sister's room because she texted me, and she just
you
texted
already
me.
told me this.
Dot,
Told
dot,
them
dot.
this.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
It's weird to me because she never shows emotion. And she was bawling, and I was like, what do I do? What do I do with you?
I remember all I could say is I was like, that hurts so bad.
Yes, Sydney was very upset.
I think
I
I
mean-
just need to look at it to be able to react again. The letter. Let me get this open.
While Sydney rereads, I was sad about it too because, like I said, Keith is one of my favorites. But I don't know. He's one of the few characters that I do have a lot of faith in, and I know that he's gonna end up being okay and he's gonna come back because Shannon, like, she tortures us, but I don't think she's gonna kill Keith off.
Mm-hmm.
So I know he's coming back into play. I know that it's not over as far as he goes. He's too important. You can't just. He's not just gonna jump out the window like that.
And I do think this is different from the Never Seen thing.
Mm-hmm.
He's not trying to be the hero. He's trying to help. Whether it's the right or wrong decision,
Right.
it's
And
kind
whether
of
or
a
not he's
gray
gonna regret it.
decision.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to help more than, I think, running away to the Never Seen is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say something about. I don't know. I think that after Forkel died, I was just like, okay. I mean, that was sad, and I've lost the ability to be sad anymore. I don't know.
This whole... I just remember... Do you remember how leading up to this, that whole chapter, Jaycie had to mute herself because I was like, oh no, oh no, oh no, what are you doing, Keith? What are you doing?
Yes.
And then
whole
he's
chapter.
writing a letter?
Right. Whenever she went, a letter.
Mm-hmm.
It was just scary.
I was so
because
scared.
we were so worried about his mental stability at that point, and we were like, what is he doing? Oh, he's leaving Sophie a letter? What? Why?
Mhm.
Why? Keith!
Mm-hmm. And then the cobalt blue crystal, I was like, what?
I had to look it up. I was like, I think that's Human Cities.
Mm-hmm.
Flipped over to it.
Mm-hmm.
I know yellow is neutral territories because
Mhm.
Orly told Sophie not to go to the neutral territories, and then someone left there, and she was like, I'm not supposed to go there.
I trust Shannon so much, though.
I think she'll be.
I mean, you trusted after a flashback, and you were like, here's what's going to happen.
And then it happened.
And then it exactly happened.
Because everybody, I remember, it was like right after I read that.
And all the So Keef people were like, okay, I guess we're out now. And Sydney was like, no, listen, she has to show why it won't work. Otherwise, all the Fitzby people are going to be angry forever.
Yep, and then it worked out.
And then exactly like she said, too. Like with the matchmaking and everything.
Yep.
She's really good at this, guys.
Well, okay, but don't have too much faith in me because I was wrong about the human thing. I'm wrong about a lot of things. I'd throw things out.
Just not the important stuff.
If I write things down, I probably believe it a lot, but if I'm just throwing things out, I'm brainstorming. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, I trust Shannon with this. I think she had to stop Keith from taking over her story, and she had to thwart Gasila's plan somehow. Gisela. Mm-hmm. She also, something about Keith being with the humans is going to come into play. Mm-hmm. There's that really weird thing. Did he go to London? Where did he get it?
Did you just say London?
Sorry. London.
London,
England. I'm sorry. I read things and I pronounce them how I see them. Okay. If that wasn't clear with Gisela. Okay.
Okay, I do the same thing. I do the same thing. I just pronounce things like I hear them or like I read them, and then my whole family makes fun of me. But I've just heard the word London so much, and you'll probably find out. I have like an obsession with England, and I don't know why. It's just beautiful, and so she said London.
If you're listening from England,
email us.
I'm sorry, and yes, email or message us.
I will probably fangirl about it a little bit.
Yep.
I love your accent. And then, so whenever Keith is about to leave, he goes and he's like, oh no, it'd be so bad if I was caught by Grady. And then he was caught by Grady.
Yeah. But I'm so glad he was. Mm-hmm. Because if something goes wrong, first of all, it was sweet. If it's going to keep Grady from freaking out and being like, that boy!
It's keeping what happened in Lodestar from happening again.
Yes, yep. And it's going to give a lifeline. Also, if any of you have seen Stranger Things, I had the thought, you know that part where Mike is trying to get to 11, and 11 can hear him, but she won't answer, in the beginning of season 2? I wonder if something like that will happen where Sophie tries to transmit to Keith desperately over and over, like, come back, or just, like, transmits and has long conversations and hopes he's listening. I don't know how that works, but anyway, it's going to be so hard for him to resist. Jaycie looks sad.
That's so sweet. Like having like the conversations, like almost like writing a letter to him.
Yeah.
Because with him writing the letter to her.
And not knowing if he's going to hear it.
That's really sweet. Okay. I like that.
Yeah, I hope that happens. Because she can transmit. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and she can transmit pretty. Like, remember when they searched for Tam?
Yeah.
Yeah, and she was transmitting to Tam. Mm. I wonder if she can learn how to do that herself. Wait, how did they do that? I want to look at that.
I think she just transmitted. I mean,
there was something special about it.
We'll have to research it.
Yeah, we'll have to research it because that would be so sweet, though.
And then Grady is talking to Keith, and he was trying to, I guess, I don't know, comfort himself or something. Because he kind of joked around a little bit. He's like, apparently she gets in even more trouble without you there. Who knew? So I think Grady was really kind of upset about Keith leaving in his own little Grady way. Yeah. Because he knew that Sophie needed Keith. And so he was like...
Kind of like Ro. Is it Ro or is it Grady? Grady says... Hold on, there's a quote right here.
She's going to need you.
Yep. Uh-huh. So there's...
And that's why he gives him the imparter. Because he's like, if I call you on this, you're going to answer, Keith. Or I will hunt you down.
He says, I promise I'll only use it for an emergency. I have a feeling Sophie's going to need you before this is all over. And then a second later it says, Keith swallowed hard, clearing his throat several times to make sure the words were a request, not a command, before he said, oh, that's not relevant. But he says, Keith nodded, grabbing the imparter and shoving it into his pocket as Grady's words replayed in his head. Sophie's going to need you. And then he's like, Keith. And then he's like, he didn't think she would. He knew she would keep on being her brave, powerful, awesome self and show his mom why the Moonlark would always be better and smarter and stronger than anyone else. Keith, she's going to need you.
Sydney's just dying.
Yes. I was...
she was not okay.
That hurt me. That wrecked
She
me.
really wasn't okay. It was like 4:00 in the morning, and I just remember it going silent, and I was like, Sydney?
Yeah. So I don't cry. Okay, that's a lie. I cry at everything, but I don't...
It takes something to make her cry.
Yeah. I mean, I cry at a lot of stuff. But I don't cry like I was there. Like, usually I silently cry and it's just my eyes. But I was, like, trying to hold it in.
She was, yes.
Yeah, I was, yeah. If you know me, I'll cry at the end of lots of things. But,
Yeah.
but I cry, like, as fast as I can. I just cry 2 tears, let myself cry, and then I'm like, wipe my tears away. Okay, moving on. This, I was like...
That's, okay. This is random, but at the end of the Clone Wars series, anyone who's seen that,
oh no,
that's how I was. I finished it, and oh my goodness, I just like bawled. Literally, me and my sister. That's, I guess, the only other time I've seen her show emotion. We were just bawling.
Yeah.
It's super sad.
So, little thing, Jaycie and I work on a book together, and so we both like to write, and so books kind of
Books,
affect
movies,
us.
stories, just
Yeah.
stories in general.
Yep, stories, they're the best. Oh, this letter.
Sydney's having a very hard time with
But since this is the last time I'll ever talk to you, I just want to say that I'm really going to miss you. You mean a lot to me, Foster, more than you'll ever know.
Sydney, are you okay?
And then he says, love, Keith.
That's what I've been waiting for him to say. I wonder what Sophie's reaction is going to be to that. She's going to realize her hard emotions, I think. And it's going to... I want to see Orly working with her on, like, just that whole thing. Because she knows what it's like to lose someone that, like, you I don't know, that you
And
loved.
Fitzvee shippers, I'm sorry. I mean, I'm not really, but I'm kind of going to defend myself because it's...
We'll have to have a Fitzvee shipper here sometime.
Yeah.
To talk to us.
Do we know one?
Aiden, I think.
But he's on, like, book 2.
Still.
And no,
he
Aiden's
doesn't-
not Fitzvee.
You're right. He's Dexvee.
Dopey.
Right. Oh, that's...
For now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do we know a Fitzvee shipper? Like, at first we knew a lot, but they've kind of died out.
I'm gonna bleep out all
come
these
to
names
the
unless I
dark
get
side.
permission.
Yeah.
But I think Laura Lee is.
Okay. We can get her.
She's quiet. She might do it. I don't know. I could probably get her too.
Yeah. Fitzvee shippers? We might need to call you. But anyway, I am going to defend myself because it was half Keith's perspective. So talking about Keith is kind of justified.
Required,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's required. Fitz was only in like 2 scenes. And I think we paid attention to those.
Sophie's gonna be an emotional mess after this, like for a little while at least, especially with like that letter.
I really want to see her be independent.
She's going to get that way eventually, but she's gonna have to work through it.
Yeah.
And she's going to also have to immediately, I'm hoping, work on the catches, which would make my theory of her working with Orly on the emotional side of it.
Okay, so what if she gets home, she reads Fitz's letter, not Fitz. Keith's letter, and then she's like, okay, now I have to, or Orly's like, okay, we got the catches, here I am, and she's like all upset about Keith.
She just like,
and then Orly has to help her through it.
Starts bawling. They're just talking, and then she thinks she's gonna think of something that's gonna make her think of Keith, and she's just gonna like start crying.
Yeah.
Or Orly's gonna feel her emotions. She's gonna be like, "Are you okay?"
Yeah.
Because yes, she's been feeling kind of her emotions about Fitz, but I feel like these are gonna be more powerful because they're heart emotions instead of head emotions. Plus, I think that Orly kind of does ship Keith Foster, especially with wanting Keith to have the choice to see Sophie.
She's an empath, and
that whole thing with Kenrick, yeah, she knows. There's gonna be some sort of discussion, I'm hoping, and it's gonna be so sweet. And maybe that's what's gonna make Sophie start trusting her again.
Maybe, yeah.
Like build the foundation for them to actually start working together.
And I feel like Orly would be one of those who's like, okay, trust Keith a little, trust Keith. Yeah. But then again, I didn't think much about how Sophie would respond to Orly.
I didn't think she was gonna get mad. Like I've been predicting
that
this, but I
didn't
thought she
even
was
come
gonna
to
be
my
relieved.
mind. So she might be more angry than I think at Keith. I could see her doing that. She's not in a good mental state.
Well, in Lodestar, she was a little bit mad at Keith, but then she was just sad. And then whenever he did the second sort of betrayal thing, she was really mad at him. But eventually, he just went to sadness, and she started begging him to come back.
And this isn't a betrayal. And also, if Grady's on Keith's side, that's going to change a lot. Because last time, Grady kind of fueled it. He was like, that boy. But this time, Grady can stick up for Keith.
Forkle, we're going to have to, come up with a mental list of people that ship Foster Keith, because I know Forkle has been you and Mr. Simpson have a unique connection. And then there's Orly, Lord Cassius, Lady Gisela. They've both been Sophie, you have an interesting effect on our son.
Though Gisela doesn't ship it. She's just
accepts it.
a tool to manipulate.
Right. There's Grady, Adeline. Adeline might still be a little bit Fitzvy though.
Yeah, Adeline's just pro Sophie.
Yeah, Adeline's just Team Sophie.
Yeah. But she does. There was that whole thing where she was watching them, and she was like, "Oh."
Oh yeah, in book 2.
Book 4.
In book 2 as well, because they were chasing each other up and down the stairs, and it's Adeline smiled at them knowingly. Maybe it was book 3.
Book 4 is where right before Keith betrays her, she's watching them. The thing I mentioned earlier.
Yes, and she drags Grady away. Yeah, that was hilarious. I forgot about that.
Yeah, let's leave off this. We've talked.
Yeah, because that's gonna be a separate episode.
Yeah. Okay. Any last thoughts?
Yes, Grady saw Keith's crystal color.
Yes.
When he leapt away.
Also, like I said, where did Keith get that crystal? Is there? Who?
He probably found it in Candleshade somewhere, honestly.
Yeah.
And then just kept it with him.
I'm just wondering, is there a previously mentioned blue crystal from Candleshade?
Probably.
You have to get approved for those. So Cassius...
I mean, Gisela probably, created it or something.
Well, I'm just thinking, if there is a previously mentioned blue crystal, cobalt blue crystal, at Candleshade, or that Keith could access, that could give us a hint to where he, literally where he went to be with humans. There might not be. But if we can find that, it's the same thing with the Blur thing. If we can find something where Blur mentions that.
And he's a polyglot.
I want to do a lot of research.
Him being a polyglot is going to make it easier for him to blend in because he can speak any language.
Totally.
But he's probably going to have to go to a European country or something so that he doesn't stand out too much. Or maybe America. It'd be funny if he came to, Texas. Yeah. That'd be really funny.
Yes, please. We're not Texans. That'd just be funny.
Oh, my goodness. Well, we're going to teach you how to drive a truck.
Please. That would be so funny.
Or even
he's probably going to go to a city, though.
New York would be funny, too.
Forbidden cities.
You'd have to drive in a car.
Oh, I always think about that quote where Forkle's like...
There's nothing more terrifying than putting your life in the hands of a distracted human who's operating a piece of dangerous machinery that they only marginally understand and can barely control.
I was thinking of that earlier when your dad was driving.
I just recite that to him. The reason I have it memorized is because I just recite it to him randomly, and he gets so mad at me. He's like, I know how to drive. My dad is a fast driver.
Here, we probably need to wrap this up.
Yes. Any final quotes?
I love how we were it'll be 25 minutes.
Yeah, we're only going to talk about this 200-page book for 20 minutes.
We already did it for 7 hours.
Right. I mean, I think 2 hours is pretty good down from 7.
Yeah.
We could do a section on quotes and then
you want to read those?
Yes.
Skip the ones I put back in here.
Okay. So, one was Bianna talking about Glimmer. She's not the brightest jewel in the tiara. The cute lump in the blanket didn't respond. Orally to Sophie. Actually, I'm not. We needed my tears, didn't we? I knew the easiest way to trigger them was to remind myself of how much you hate me. Me and one of my other friends, who's the only other hardcore Ken Rally person, I read that and was super sad. I think I showed Sydney or said something to Sydney about it. And then whenever she read it, she screenshotted it and texted it to me and was like, I'm crying. Aww. Yeah, me too. If you guys are so powerful, how come you hide behind your bodyguards? That's Ro. And Sydney's comment was, it raises interesting questions about, the lost cities.
Yep.
And Sophie said that to Orly, too. If you guys think you're so secure, why are you putting so much security on your catches?
The lost cities are pretty messed up. Which is, I've heard quotes from Shannon where she's like, I wanted to create a world that looks perfect on the outside, but is crumbling. Yeah. I love it.
Yes.
It's so much like our world.
It is. These ringlets are so heavy. They always make my neck glisten. Glisten?
Glisten.
That reminds me of something. So there was this thing at Fun Friday one time where the one lady came there. Fun Friday was a co-op we used to do because we're homeschooled. And she,
no. Did you? Okay.
Can we say that?
You should probably cut it, like bleep out the Fun
We can
Friday.
just skip it.
The
We
name.
used to do a co-op together, and there was this lady who came, and she was talking about ballet because she used to take ballet, and she was like, "Ballerinas don't sweat; they glisten." And I was like, "I think my teacher said that before," so that's what it made me think of. And it just like I wasn't even fazed by it because my teacher would say that so much in class, and then but whenever Sophie said glisten, I was like, "Oh wait, most people don't say that." I also have taken ballet. I took ballet for like 6 years, so I just got used to that. And then I was like, oh, wait, yeah, normal people don't say that. Now he was going to have to deal with his new ability and deal with her at the same time, which sounded tiring. Wait, who's her? Who are you talking about?
Wait, her?
Gisela. Now he's going to have to deal with it's probably Gisela.
Yeah. It was.
Humor made the perfect distraction, talking about Keith.
Yeah.
Keith could feel all of Rose's emotions whirling towards him like spinning daggers. Anger, annoyance, a tiny wisp of relief, which freaked him out more than all the others. That's kind of funny and sad at the same time.
Uh-huh.
You are? A new voice interrupted. A beautiful voice. Keith's favorite voice, even when it was all squeaky with worry.
It's so cute.
Very good, Sydney. You guessed it. Okay, I'm done
Yes?
liking Captain Perfect Pants, Ro announced. Ro is literally me sometimes.
Yes.
I
I agree with 97% of
I
what
agree
Rose
with-
says.
think 100%. I don't know. Has
There are
she said
times when I'm
anything?
like, Ro, stop talking.
Oh, no.
But there are times when I'm like, yes. Yes.
No, whenever Ro is being super annoying, I'm
It
like,
was like the
yes.
first bit where she was there.
Mm-hmm.
That was fucking.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
where
I know
I
what
was
you're
like,
talking
Ro,
about.
just stop talking.
You don't
and
need
then
all your commentary?
and then later she got good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Elwyn talking. I guess Ro was right about what we needed to do to get you to cooperate, or who we needed. Elwyn ships Keith Foster. Oh, I love that.
I love Ellen.
I love Elwyn too. Who's this? Oh. Keith was the most stubborn, rebellious person she'd ever met, but there was no fight left in his eyes. I think we read this.
Yeah.
He looked only torn and shattered as he turned towards Orly and nodded that yes, he wanted Sophie to stay away.
Yeah, skip the ones we've already read.
I'm gonna try to, okay, we haven't done this one yet. Rose sighed and turned to Dex. In case you were wondering, he's overthinking everything right now. I don't know what he's thinking, but he keeps getting all shuddery, so I'm guessing it's super melodramatic. Like him single-handedly destroying the world with the sound of his voice. Who knew our hunky hair was an even bigger worrier than Blondie?
Single-handedly destroying the world with the sound of his voice.
Okay.
I'm just picturing the world exploding like Keith speaking and then boom.
And that's what's going on in Keith's head. And he's just sitting there like, eyes wide.
I want to see it animated like Avatar so bad.
Yeah.
And it just like zooms in on Keith's head and it's like, boom.
Okay, so Counselor Sparkly Eyebrows. Who? Dex interrupted. Rose shrugged. No idea. Can't remember his name. I was super confused about that.
Yeah, we
It
were
just said
both confused.
Sparkly eyebrows. And I went back later and I read the thing and it just said he had bigger eyebrows than Sophie had ever seen on anyone, which is kind of funny because, like, his portrait, it's not, I mean, they're kind of big, but they're not, like, half his face. I
Yeah.
don't know. Sparkly. Is sparkly just a word for anything she thinks is extra?
Well, she says a little bit later, I noticed that it was because of the jewel. Right here.
The circlet.
Yeah, the circlet.
Ah, okay.
Honestly, I'm looking at your eyebrows right now, and Nolan's are like 3 times that size, so it might be, yeah.
Maybe.
Okay.
It's like, what's the guy's name who plays Philip in The Greatest Showman and Troy in High School Musical? Zac Efron.
Yeah.
He has big eyebrows.
Does he?
Yes. Okay, so
Siri, show me a picture of Zac Efron. Oh man, she won't do it. It's fine.
hold on. Show me a picture of Zac Efron. I love that we've spiraled to this. Sometimes he does. Hold on. Okay, his eyebrows are kind of big in that one. They're really big in The Greatest Showman.
That's true.
I
Zac
love that we just
Efron
spiraled
for
to
Nolan
this.
in the live action.
Yes. I mean, he has blue eyes that would work.
Yeah, it would work.
Okay. No, but he's got, like, dark skin.
Who? Oh, Nolan
Nolan,
does? Yeah, you're
yeah.
right.
He could get a spray tan.
Yeah. No. Anyway.
He could. I don't know why that's so funny. I'm just picturing it.
The orange.
Exactly. I'm just picturing Oompa Loompa. Oompa Loompa Zac Efron. I mean, he's short and everything.
Jaycie!
I don't know. It'd be really funny. He could be bronze.
Zac Efron. Oh, maybe.
That's true. Okay, continuing. We're so far off track. He's tunneled under his blanket since Dex left, and he'd been there ever since, tossing and turning and flailing and thrashing and just generally feeling sorry for himself. Oh, we did read that. I'm sorry. I'm just reading this as I go.
Yeah.
We read those, we read that, and yeah, that's all of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's all our
I
quotes.
thought I put... Oh, no, you read that one.
Yeah, we already read all of ours. So yes, that's it.
Is that it? There was something else I was going to say a few minutes ago, but I don't know what it was.
Was it about Keith?
Yeah, more than likely.
Anything? Any last thoughts? Any final thoughts?
Last thoughts. Unlocked was so good. I didn't dislike anything almost. It was just like...
I didn't... Okay, I liked the way it was written. The only thing I disliked was characters, and I want those characters to still be in it because they cause problems, and that's what makes it exciting.
Yeah. I didn't dislike... There wasn't any part where I was bored or upset. It just felt so satisfying. I was like,
Yes.
That was awful and traumatizing, but it was so good.
And the art, the council.
The art.
I've been wanting to see the council for so long.
Mm-hmm. And everything in the front was really interesting. I haven't looked that much through it, but
Keith's file was great. Just the whole thing's basically redacted.
Okay, is this everything?
I think so.
Cool. Yep.
Thank
See
you
you for our next episode. We'll try to keep it down.
They're hopefully going to be shorter after
Yeah,
this.
hopefully. But we had a lot to say. Just be glad it wasn't 7 hours. Like our phone call. Yep. Okay.
Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to the Forbidden Cities podcast. Leave us a review and tell a friend about the podcast if you liked us. Email us with comments and episode suggestions at theforbiddencitiespodcast@gmail.com. And to follow us on Instagram, just search @Forbidden Cities Podcast.